What up, dude bros? I'm Frank. This is my speculation video for the fall 2019 blaster launch by Nerf. This is not a review. I've never had hands-on experience with any of these blasters. I'm not even sure if prototypes even exist yet. This is just my opinion and speculation and sort of hopes and dreams, really, about these new blasters that Hasbro just told me about. In this video, I'll go over the N-Strike Elite Titan CS50, the Mega Megalodon, the Zombie Strike Revoltinator, and the Nerf rival Perses, or Perses. Whatever. Freaking Greek gods, man. Rival series, what's up? I'll pass along all the information Hasbro has given me about each of these blasters along with my hopes and dreams or speculation on these blasters, because these seem very cool to me. So let's start with the N-Strike Elite Titan CS50. Retail price of $99.99 or about $100 US will be released in fall of 2019. This is a fully motorized rapid fire blaster, which I assume means fully automatic. It would be a real shame to build something that looks this cool and make it semi-auto, so I kind of assume it's full. Enough of the box art. Awesome. That's pretty phallic. If you look at that camera angle, the photographer must have known what I was going to say. I mean, come on. Come on. Right here, with this giant barrel. I mean, come on. He's ready for action. But this points out the new cool thing that I'm stoked for, the 50-round drum C-style magazine, which is awesome. Previously, the 35-round Raider drum was the highest capacity dart magazine by Nerf. This is a 50-round. It appears to be a spring-loaded magazine similar to the other magazines, but in a different shape. In the side view here, it kind of looks like the Raider drum, but from this other view, you can see the little feet, sort of like they had on the Prometheus blaster. Hopefully, because the battery should be in the way back, right here, you should be able to set the blaster down here and it should be able to rest on a table without tipping over, sort of like a cantilevered barrel because of the mass from your big old batteries back here. So that'll be pretty cool to just like set it down. Seems like a big access door here. I assume this button right here is the magazine release. Comfortable handle, sort of like the Prometheus. It seems like that's similar. How you hold it, it drops down below your waistline instead of shouldering it like a rifle. I assume this grip right here will sort of swivel to then fit the user, and depending on the angle of the barrel, which again is sort of like the Prometheus. I'm not trying to be reductive by comparing it to the Prometheus because the Prometheus is a baller blaster. This also looks pretty hardcore. And the center barrel here will rotate as you fire. As you can see in this rendering how it's kind of blurry along this barrel. It spins in a circle within the little plastic barrel shroud right here, which I think will look pretty cool. Is it going to be functional? No, but this won't be much better than a Rapid Strike except for the massive capacity, but it'll make you feel like a badass, definitely, just like the Prometheus. Running around with that, super fun. I imagine this will be just as fun to use. No N-Strike barrel lug right here, no N-Strike Tactical rails underneath here. I see one N-Strike Tactical right up on the front nose right here, but nothing up back here, although this looks like it could be prime real estate for a rail. It wouldn't be that hard to put one on there, but they didn't. I'm not sure why. I guess it's going to be giant and heavy as it is, so why put your scope on? And I guess they just want you to hip fire it, so they won't let you put a scope on it. Whatevs. I noticed the sling attachment points in an ideal position to throw it over your shoulder like the Prometheus and just let it hang as you're firing from about the hip. To restate, the capacity is 50 rounds with this drum, but it appears to be a standard N-Strike magazine. Well, so if you wanted to put in different mags, and more importantly for most people, you can take this mag and put it into other blasters, like this Strife. Oh yeah, hopefully. I'm not promising that, but I'd be very surprised if they changed up the mag system. Back in the battery here, it takes 4 D-style alkaline batteries, which is going to add some mass, but at least it's not 6. And this is a pretty big blaster. Then I really think the battery location will help it kind of counteract the weight up here to make it easier to flip around. If you have too much front heavy weight, then if you want to quickly turn and shoot somebody from left to right, it can be sluggish. So having the weight in the back will let you throw it around on the fulcrum right here. That'll be pretty cool. But I'm excited for this one. So fully automatic, I believe, battery powered. I assume it's flywheel. I'm not sure of that. I haven't verified it, but I'd be blown away if they use the old-fashioned Stampede style, because that's just loud and icky. Flywheels are just an easier way of doing the same thing. But this is the Nerf Elite Titan CS50, which is pretty cool. Oh yeah. Phallic. Okay. Next up, the Nerf N-Strike Mega Megalodon, retailing for about $39.99 or $40 US, available in fall of 2019. The information Hasbro provided me says crank the handle back and forth and pull the trigger to launch one dart at a time. So I'm not sure if it's a rev-up flywheel system. It doesn't appear to have space for that, so I assume it's a spring action with a goofy priming arm. And it says it has slam fire, so I guess that means it's not flywheel. That's not language Hasbro's ever used in conjunction with a flywheel propulsion mech. So I assume it's spring, so maybe you crank this guy back and it has like a weird, odd, it's a Mega Blaster, of course it's going to be goofy. The assembly of that's going to be kind of strange. It looks like the image cut off there. Like, what? Unless there's like a missing bit right here that just snaps into... Okay, that's not relevant right now. I also think it's funny it says, use only official Nerf darts. Well, stop making crappy Nerf darts and, charging a whole bunch of money for them, Hasbro. Then we'll use them. Until then, waffle heads on Amazon, woo! Half the cost, double the accuracy. Heck yeah, Waffleheads. This has a capacity of 20 rounds, as you can see right there. This is a different angle. I think it has a pretty cool little tip there, but it's just the tip. This, just like the Elite Titan, it seems more like you're going to be shooting this from the hip, especially if that priming action is what I expect, which will be a spring-powered, kind of an odd priming arm. So I assume hip fire all day, every day. It has a very nicely placed sling mount right there, so you can put a one-point sling. I mean, it has another sling mount up here, but let's get real. A one-point sling to drop this and throw it around your back. To have 20 rounds of Mega at this small of a package, this will be great for certain game types when you want to run around with a normal primary, and if for some reason a Mega Dart is worth more than an Elite Dart to shoot a board or to eliminate a zombie target or something, pulling this out and having 20 Mega rounds is going to be pretty functional. And the darts here are pretty close together, so they're making good use of space without going to like a double stacking turret or a cylinder. I think this is pretty compact for 20 rounds in the Mega series. So I'm not really a Mega guy myself, but I think this looks like a really functional blaster. Assuming performance is on par with other Mega blasters, it'll be pretty awesome. That is the Mega Megalodon. Fun name to say. Megalodon, Megalodon, Megalodon. Moving to the next two blasters, which is the same blaster in both blue and red, this is the Nerf rival Perses. Perses? On-screen text. You can read it however you want to read it. I'm just going to keep saying Perses. Perses. F. The Perses is also available fall of 2019 and will retail for $99.99 US dollars, or about $100. This is described as featuring the fastest blasting Nerf rival system. I assume that's referring to its rate of fire, not its velocity, because they can't really kill the game by, making this shoot 150 FPS. So I assume that's referring to rate of fire, and it says you can rapid fire up to 8 rounds a second. So this seems like a pretty small, high rate of fire SMG style blaster. It reminds me of the Chris Vector because of how this front end up here is sitting here. It has a hopper loading feeding system. This is not a spring powered magazine, and you can see how the balls are just kind of hanging out in there. They aren't in a perfect line like in a spring-loaded magazine, and I assume that's where you load up in here to drop the balls in. 50 round capacity, which is smaller than the Nemesis and certainly smaller than the Prometheus, but this has a much smaller footprint than the Nemesis. So maybe if the Nemesis was too big for you and you want to run faster and shoot a little faster rate of fire, this one will be for you. I'm a little surprised at the retail price of $99 because that's like more expensive than you can buy the Nemesis, and that's what the Nemesis actually launched for. And this has half the capacity, and it's a smaller blaster. So I'm not sure why the price increased. This appears to be a protruding sling mount over here, and hopefully, well, in this one too, so that will be a good, you can drop that out on 1-point sling if you want it as a backup to spray off, full auto 50 rounds, or a 2-point sling if it's your primary, an in-strike or a rival tack rail under there. No rails up on the top. Maybe that interferes with loading. This is the only view of this blaster I have in the red, as it's difficult to see contrast in all the shadows. Seems like a normal rival blaster. The grip angle and grip smoothness, this looks like every other rival blaster out there right now. Oh, should have read the full description. Oh, now the $100 retail cost makes sense. It comes with a 9-volt battery. This is a rechargeable pack. It doesn't say if it's the same as the other, like the Prometheus pack, which I find highly unlikely wouldn't fit here. And I don't think the normal rival rechargeable pack would fit. I don't see anywhere, because I assume the hopper goes about here. Maybe the battery slides in right there, or maybe, like up through here. So okay, I get it. For $100, you get the blaster, 50 rounds, plus the battery, instead of paying an extra 30 to, replace the Nemesis battery pack. I'm certainly curious to see how many people want this blaster, because the Nemesis would, I'm a big guy, so I can definitely carry the Nemesis, no problem. I want the Prometheus, actually, but to drop your capacity from the Nemesis is 100 down to 50 here, I'm not sure how many people want to do that unless you're like a smaller, younger Nerfer. I have had that email quite a few times. They say, hey, Coop, my kid can't carry the Nemesis. What do you recommend? Maybe I can start recommending this one for the smaller guys, or people that are trying to travel much faster. If you're one of those hardcore parkour masters and the Nemesis is too big for you. I'm certainly not one of those. I consider myself a tank with very limited armor, meaning I just move very slowly all the time. So Prometheus, or hell, a triple Prometheus, that's how I roll, brah. So that's the overview of the Perses. It's available in both blue and red, fall of 2019 for $100 US. And last but not least, the Zombie Strike Revoltinator. The Revoltinator will retail for $49.99 or about $50 US, and it's available in fall of 2019. The Revoltinator features power shock electronic lights and sounds, and power and shock in this this memo I received are both capitalized, so it might be like a patented system. I see these little lights right here, these 4 blue ones, and if this Nerf logo actually illuminates, I'm gonna lose my because that's going to look freaking awesome, and it looks like that could be an LED source right there and in here. This is very clearly an artist rendering instead of a photograph of a real blaster, so maybe, the artist did it wrong, but that looks like it's illuminated Nerf, illuminated tube up here and right here with this type of That looks like an Iron Man reactor core, like right there. I'm just gonna take a moment to go over these cosmetics because this blaster looks incredible. First, I feel like the vibe off of this front end kind of looks like the Gears of War Lancer, without the chainsaw, of course. Instrike Tactical Rail right here, Tactical Rail up there. Instrike barrel attachment lug right there, which is baller for such a long barrel for them to give us access to more barrel. Always need more tactics, eh? And I think just this little cosmetic marks, like this is the first electronic zombie strike blaster, I think, and it has 3 little 9-volt batteries wired together in this really unsafe looking wire harness. Good thing that's not a live current. You have some resistors popping through the shell right here and this little clamp from like an alligator lead. Which I think this has a really cool DIY electronic vibe. All the other Zombie Strike DIYs weren't electrical power. I think it looks super cool. This looks like it could be a panel for something. I don't know if it would display something. It looks like it could be a flat, like on the Nerf cam, how it pops up with the LCD screen. I don't have an alternate view. This is the only view I have, so I have to just wait and see. I'm a little impatient, so that's going to be irritating. In the description I was provided, it says, when you power and fire, lights flash and glow in different places on the blaster, and it makes revving, blasting, and sparking sounds. So that could be pretty cool or super annoying. Hopefully there's an off switch for just audio if you want to shoot the blaster without the like sound effects. It'll come with the blaster itself, an 18-round stick mag, which this is a new magazine, which I think looks pretty cool, and 18 Zombie Strike Elite darts. This magazine does look cool, but you can see right here, it's obviously still the same Instrike style magazine compatible with all the other mags. Surprisingly, this runs on 4 AA batteries instead of C batteries. I'm not sure if this is semi-auto or full auto. It says you can rev it up and shoot all 18 darts in a row with rapid fire blasting. I think they say rapid fire when it's fully automatic, but semi-auto done quickly enough. I mean, I'm just doubting that they run a full auto system with all these lights and obnoxious, all this nonsense on just 4 AA batteries. Typically when they run a full auto mech, they use C or D batteries. So it'd be surprising to see them run a full auto mech on the AA batteries plus all these lights and nonsense. Unless the performance is drastically dropped, which I hope not. It's unclear to me if it's semi or full. I'm sort of leaning towards semi because it's $50, and for full auto with all these lights and stuff, that almost seems like too good of a deal from Hasbro. No offense, Hasbro. But I am personally very excited for this blaster. I think the lime green looks super cool. I personally like bright, flashy blasters. Even blue like this, when you're running around pointing it at somebody, can look pretty aggressive. But when you go to really lime green and sharp colors like that, it's difficult to mistake this as a firearm, which makes me comfortable to shoot it in front of other people. And I just think these shell lines look super cool with the arc reactor thing, or the Tony Stark, I forget what he calls it. And I'm really curious, I haven't had my hands on this. I want to know if this is hollow or if this is a white bit of shell. It looks like it could be passed through like this, like that's just a slot along with that. Carry handle might get in the way for some people, but you know, tack rail up here for the tactics. So I'm definitely going to keep it. And this is a separated panel right here, so I believe this was just going to pop off, and that's where the batteries will go, which makes sense based on, you know, the blaster configuration. But it's a Zombie Strike blaster with tack rails and electric powered with an Instrike attachment lug, you know. Pretty cool, and with a pretty cool form factor. I think this blaster looks super cool. So that is the Zombie Strike Revoltinator. What am I most excited for? First, the Titan's drum magazine of 50 round capacity. I personally don't think I'll be using something as big as the Titan because it doesn't have the advantage of the Prometheus having 200 round capacity. You can take this magazine and throw it in a Strife and get a very similar performance without having to lug all of this around, including the 4 batteries. It's going to be pretty heavy because those are D-style batteries. But I'm excited for that drum, and I'm excited, I mean, shoot, that's going to look really intimidating. That's going to look awesome, especially with that thing spinning. This thing's going to look super cool, be very fun, just not as functional for somebody like me. Don't really care about the Megalodon because I just don't use mega darts, but I am pumped that you have 20 round capacity on a secondary, like you can put a 1-point sling, like I said, so that'll be pretty cool for certain people. Again, I just don't really use mega, and I think this is hilarious that they're going to start advertising to use only official darts. Ignore that, bros. Buy Wafflehead darts on Amazon, cheaper and more accurate. The Perses looks pretty cool, and I'm glad that they're expanding the Rival series, but I personally, you know, I'm big enough, I'd rather use a Nemesis or a Prometheus, but hopefully it'll shoot fast and, you know, be easy to sling because it's light and slim. And I'm curious to see what type of battery they have, if it's in here or maybe up into this little chamber, don't know. I think for my playstyle, I am most looking forward to the Revoltinator, just because it looks super cool. You know, it might be a cooler version of my Strife for days that I want to carry something a little bit bigger. It looks, I mean, I just want to hold it. I think the color looks super cool, and the lights and stuff. Assuming I can turn off the audio, because those sounds tend to annoy me after, you know, just a few minutes of it. And I'm so glad that the Zombie Strike series is going electric, so that's nice to see, and I'm pumped to see where they go with it. And that is it for the Fall 2019 preview. None of these images were leaked. They were all provided by my Hasbro rep, along with all of the information. I tried to separate my opinion and my projections and my hopes and dreams from the objective information. All of those retail prices were accurate and they gave those to me. This is all speculation. I have not touched any of these blasters, but again, when they send over samples or they're available in the store for me to buy, I will certainly review them and publish those reviews. But they were supposed to release in fall of 2019, so it'll be a while, bros. That's it for this speculation video on the fall 2019 blasters. Let me know what you guys think and tell me what's your favorite blaster. Do you guys dig the Titan? If anybody would use the Perses and why, please let me know. I'm just curious. Maybe I'm missing the game type or forgetting the type of person that would use that instead of a Prometheus or a Nemesis. So let me know in the comments section which one you're pumped for. That's it for this video, bros. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay tactical.